Well, Happy New Year. Christmas is over and this is the last day really in which you should be displaying Christmas decorations. So what we're doing is turning the studio from a showroom back into a pottery studio again, and but just before I do that I wanted to show you some of the tiles that we fired just before Christmas, because we've been experimenting with colour, and I did cover this on the last video I made. So this owl in the centre of this panel here, let's see if I can get a better view of the panel. Bit difficult actually with this lens, but this was an experiment, and it's an addition of 4% iron oxide into a low lead fritted glaze. We've been having a lot of trouble with the lead-free translucent glazes that we've had from various pottery suppliers, because they've been so inconsistent. You never really know quite what you're going to get, and the best way of knowing what you're going to get is actually to make your own glaze, and I think that's what I might do in future. That is, if we last that long, of course. Here's a copper oxide one, and same as the oak leaves around the border of this. This design is has been designed by Charlotte and cut in linoleum, and it is almost infinitely expandable to accommodate any multiples of 4 or 8 inch tiles that you want to put inside it, or anything that adds up to that, and however you express that mathematically. When I say linoleum, this is the lino that Charlotte has drawn on and then carved in order to produce that tile there. Now, we found this an amazing technique. See the shrinkage. It works very, very well in clay, and the only technical issue with this is that you have to prevent the clay from sticking to the lino when you make it. Well, we use one of those Gladstone slab rollers. Any slab roller will do it, but that's a particularly good one in my opinion. We have got two. The other one relies on you putting different sized boards in between two rollers that act against one another, rather like an old-fashioned mangle, or if you can remember those. And it pulls the boards through it with the clay sandwich between two canvases. And if you want to make the tile thinner, you put a thicker board on one or other side, or both sides of the canvas. And this one is the one that we've got is adjusted by moving the one roller up and down, and the roller moves over the work rather than the work moving through the rollers, which is the other most common way of doing it. I think I prefer the one that we've got on balance. Well, we've got them both, but I mean, I think I prefer the one that I've got in this studio. My wife uses the other one. It's smaller, and it's quite it's versatile in as much as you can knock it down into 3 bits and put it away quite easily. It doesn't take up any space. These are also the white clay relief tiles that have been made from 4-inch linos. Well, actually the linos are a bit smaller than 4 inches, but we cut them. They're deliberately smaller than the overall size of the tile so that we get a border around it. I have demonstrated that on a previous video, and if you go back through our channel and to some of the earlier videos, there are about 30 pottery videos on there, and a lot of it has to do with making tiles, and it's something we do quite a lot of. This is a tile panel designed by Charlotte, and again, we can extend this one as far as you like. So we have to have an end, and we have to have a middle, and we use little spacing bits that we can do as a relief, but usually put a plain tile in it. And in the middle we have again relief tiles. This is all terracotta, and the terracotta must be slipped. So rather than taking this one apart, I'll just show you this one here. So we start off with red clay here, which we call terracotta, and we press the lino into the terracotta on the slab roller, and then when it's quite firm but not too dry, we dip that in a white slip, and then when the slip has dried, we rub the white slip back over the relief part of the tile to expose the relief decoration. When we're using white clay like this, white earthenware clay like this, we don't need to do that, because we just put one coloured translucent glaze over the surface of it, and that actually gives us a very good reading of the lino cut through the glaze. We wouldn't get that with this unless we rubbed it back. So it's a sort of exactly the same lino with slightly different techniques. And this one here, we've slipped it in white, and then Charlotte's painted it with underglaze decoration. Now that takes it's a lot more work, massively more work than that, which simply is biscuit fired and then has glaze applied to it. This one has got to be slipped and then hand painted, and then biscuit fired, and then have a glaze applied to it. So when you're running a business, you can't charge the same for all of these tiles, because this one is 3 times more work than that one is, and so should really be 3 times more expensive. But I mean, good luck with that. You just can't get people to pay for that degree of handmade detail. So these are all dipped in single colour glazes, which is why I wanted to show you that one, because I think it's really successful. I'm very pleased with it, and although I have to say that this iron oxide decoration, which I put a lot of in the kiln, has come out very much paler, more pale perhaps I should say, than the original ones I did, which are darker. And then we might be able to see this in the showroom, might be able to. So there's a dish which has been made in the same way, and it is a lino cut. We've stamped that dish out in a round tile cutter and then bent it over a hump mould when it's is not solidified, but is well on its way to, let's say, a leather hard stage. So it's still pliable, but I can bend that over a male mould and not disturb the decoration on from the lino cut, because don't forget that's still not been fired. And we've done quite a few of those. That's a very light coloured one, and that one even lighter, because as I demonstrated in a previous video, that one had 2% of iron oxide in it, and this one 4% of iron oxide in it. So if I look at the if I look at the 4-inch tiles here, we've got cobalt oxide in that one, copper oxide again, which is probably a bit thicker. I'd say that one is greener than that one purely because of the amount of glaze that's been applied to the surface. And that would depend really on how long you keep it immersed in the glaze before you take it out and shake it. We have to be a little bit careful with the blue one, because if we don't put a significant amount on it, it tends to go matte, and that's a cobalt one. Well, there's our first iron oxide one on there, and we go cobalt, copper and iron. Well, that's all we got so far. Somebody said the other day, could we do them in red? And well, we can do red. Here's some red decoration on a dish, and here's some painted red decoration, and so we can do red. Red we tend to buy in. There isn't really a metal oxide that makes red unless, and this is quite complicated, you take this one, copper, and you fire it in an atmosphere in the kiln which doesn't have any oxygen in it at all. And the only way of really doing that is to introduce flame into the chamber of the kiln when it's at maturation point. And that way you can get what's known as a copper red. In other words, this copper oxide, under reduction firing, which is what that process is, can turn red, quite red. The red will vary a lot, and it may not be red overall. It's a bit hit and miss, but a lot of stoneware potters use this technique because a lot of stoneware potters are firing their kilns with wood, gas, oil, or something that has flame in it anyway. So all they have to do is stick all the bungs back in the kiln when the glaze is pyroplastic, when it's turned sort of liquid, and then leave it there for a bit until all the oxygen's burned up, and sort of hope for the best. It is kind of a little bit trial and error. You can't do that in an electric kiln, really. I mean, you sort of can. I mean, I do know somebody who's done it, but it's very bad for the elements. And I've never done it myself. So I think if you want to do copper reds, you need a gas kiln. If you're doing earthenware, really. So here are some of the bigger ones, and the owl that I showed you amongst the oak leaves, that's the only big 8-inch one that we've done in iron oxide so far, so we really need to do a few more. And I think the reason these came out a little bit lighter is that I use a front-loading kiln and the characteristics are a little bit different. Anyway, I won't get into that because I don't even understand why the characteristics are different. They just are, and I think there's a great deal more insulation in that kiln, and it tends to cool down a lot quicker, and we quite like using it because we don't get quite so much crazing overall when we allow the kiln to cool down for about 3 days. The other one is cool in about 48 hours. So that's a top loader, and that's something you might consider when you're buying a kiln. The top loaders are very convenient, and I love firing in it, and you can get your results out pretty quickly, but you've got to watch that business about cracking and crazing in sort of fairly thinly insulated top loaders. Most of them are quite lightweight. And anyway, I'll leave that one there, and just wanted to show you that before we put everything away and sort of return to some semblance of normality. Well, anyway, that's what we're hoping for. So very happy New Year to anyone watching this, and I hope it's a good one for you.